President Trump is dialing up the pressure on Venezuela this weekend, aiming to hit them where it really hurts: oil. Now, Russia and China are weighing in on the conflict. Madeleine Rivera is tracking it all closely here in Washington. Hi, Maddie.
Good morning, Mike. Seizing oil tankers is the latest strategy in the Trump administration's campaign against Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, whom they see as leading an illegitimate regime. The seizures are on top of the Trump administration's blockade of sanctioned oil tankers going in and out of Venezuela. Altogether, the actions pose a significant threat to one of Maduro's crucial financial lifelines. He has for years relied on these shadow tankers to help him stay in power. The administration maintains the targeting of oil tankers is linked to their anti-drug efforts in the Caribbean.
We're also sending a message around the world that the illegal activity that Maduro is participating in cannot stand. He needs to be gone, and that we will stand up for our people. They're using these dollars to funnel and purchase and proliferate drugs around the world that's killing the next generation of Americans.
Russia and China are watching all of this very closely. Russia relies on shadow tankers to transport their oil shipments, and China is one of the top importers of Venezuelan oil. So unsurprisingly, they're condemning the United States. But there's a split on Capitol Hill, too, where lawmakers are divided on whether the administration has the legal authority to seize the oil tankers or strike the alleged drug boats.
I still think that as more information emerges and as it becomes clearer and clearer that Donald Trump is about regime change, something that has never worked well for the United States.
The U.S. has conducted more than 24 strikes on boats the administration has said were carrying drugs, the death toll now topping more than 100. Mike.
Madeleine Rivera, thanks very much. For more on this, let's bring in former State Department official Simon Hankinson with me now. Simon, welcome.
Good morning.
What is your assessment of President Trump's actions in and around Venezuela?
Well, it's part of a kinetic, active effort to try to contain the Maduro-Chavez regime, which has had power there for over 20 years, and to stop the shipments of drugs from fentanyl to cocaine into the United States that are killing 60, 70,000 Americans a year. In the past, under the Biden administration and previous administrations, we've taken a much more long-range, hands-off approach of, well, if we give them enough in aid money or billions of dollars here or there, or sanctions of this or that kind, eventually they'll stop doing it. And that never seems to work. So this is a riskier, admittedly, but a much more active approach that best case is going to pay off with the Maduro regime backing down or even possibly Maduro himself resigning.
In your view, are Nicolas Maduro's days in power numbered?
I never like to make those kinds of calls. I remember back in the 90s thinking that Castro's days were numbered, and he lasted, another 25 years. It's incredible what people are willing to suffer, to endure. The Venezuelan people have been crushed under socialism for longer than most of them have been alive. It's the country, I think, with the world's largest oil reserves. So they ought to be the gem, the jewel of Latin America. And instead, they're living impoverished lives with massive inflation and no job opportunities. So, yeah, for their sakes, I do hope he either leaves willingly or someone inside Venezuela makes him.
To Africa, on Christmas Day, we saw the commander-in-chief order airstrikes against suspected Islamic State terrorists. We have some reaction from Nigerians, and then I'll get you to respond to them.
If other countries are coming with the help of creating stability or peace in Nigeria, why shouldn't we be support? I'm in support of that.
If American mission in Nigeria is to take away the terrorists, it's a very good thing. We in Nigeria should appreciate America for doing that for us.
How do you assess that decision by the president?
Well, I spent 6 years in West Africa. It is an incredibly complex place. There are over 500 languages spoken in Nigeria. There's a long simmering conflict between herders and farmers, between Muslims and Christians. And ISIS is kind of the latest, this terrorist layer is the latest right on top. But what's happened over the past few years is the Christians have been kidnapped, been massacred, with basically the world ignoring it. So this is an attempt to show some of these groups that, hey, you're not beyond the reach of the Nigerian government if they have Uncle Sam's backing. And these Tomahawk missiles are pretty effective.
To your point, the slaughter of Christians in recent years there has been a staggering number, really overwhelming. And we understand that cooperation between the Nigerian government and the U.S., there it is on the screen, more than 7,000 killed in 2025, more than 125,000 Christians killed since 2009, 19,000 plus churches burned. So good cooperation between the Nigerian government and the White House. Your reaction to all of that?
Well, the truth is that while it's a good thing that this government is looking for our assistance and at least making an effort to try to protect its own people, the Nigerian governments of the past generation or so have been military dictatorships or so undermined by corruption that they don't have the resources or the will to be able to go out into the hinterland and protect people from terrorists and bandits. So I really hope that the Nigerian government takes note of our involvement and our interest in protecting their people and does a better job over the next few years.
A staggering number of Christian martyrs. Simon Hankinson, thank you very much for your analysis today.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.